Good day, welcome to FKU Africa Podcast. How can an African be a foreigner in an African country? To gain mentality, we need to let go of the influence of the West. Yo, what's up, y'all? I hope you all doing good. Good day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Welcome to FKU Africa Podcast. This is your host, Maneza F8, coming to you down here in South Africa, man. We're doing this for you all. We're doing this for all the Africans around the world. We don't care where you are. We don't care if you are an African that is in China, you are in India, you are in Australia, you are in Brazil, you are in Jamaica, you are in Haiti, you are in Samoa, you are in USA, you are in Gabon, you are in Nigeria. If you are an African, we're doing this for you. And if you love Africans, you are not an African. You love seeing Africans progress, get their independence, get their financial independence in order. This is also for you, because we know that there are people who are not really Africans, who are people of other nations, who are also fighting with us in heart, who doesn't have a hidden agenda, who doesn't want to exploit us. We know that there are those people, and we command and we salute them. We say, we see you, we thank you. Yeah, before we go forward, thank you for watching the previous episode, the Nelson Mandela episode, a hero or a sellout. People have had much to say about it, but we're not going to be discussing that now. It's been happening. We have long discussions on Facebook, on the Pan African Movement page. It's a group. You can search that out. It's also one Al Kumbulani, another group that we discussing these issues at. Another Facebook group that you should check out is African Leaders, a very informative group. You can also check out the United African State WhatsApp group, where we, the youth in Africa, in all over Africa and around the world, are discussing issues, forming structures to try and liberate ourselves from this misery of Africa we are living in. So if you want to know more about that, holla at me, check my socials on the descriptions. It's either you holla at me on the DM on Instagram at Maneza F8, Twitter at Maneza F8, or you can check the Facebook link. It's a B Maneza. Check that out, or check FKU Africa Podcast page on Facebook. DM me, seek the information. I will sort you out with the groups you need to follow on WhatsApp, also on Facebook. We have good movements going for the Africans. So yeah, I hope you did subscribe to the podcast already. If you have not, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave the comment. Don't forget the bell so that you can get the notifications. So today we're gonna be bringing you the top 5 Pan-Africans that you should read about. I'm not saying these are the most they are the best than others that I left behind, but these are very important to know about if you want to know the structure of Pan Africanism on how it all began and what it means to be a Pan-Africanist. As a Pan-Africanist, as I am, I believe that Africans from all over the world, we are sharing the same sentiments. We are sharing one voice, and that voice is one Africa for all Africans. Doesn't matter where you're coming from, doesn't matter where you are even now, doesn't matter if you are in Jamaica, Haiti, Samoa, Australia, China, England, Brazil. If you are an African, you are an African. You believe you belong to what we are trying to achieve. So without wasting any of your time, the first Pan-Africanist that I believe you should check out is W.E.B. Du Bois. He was born in 1868 in USA. He is the first guy. He is the scholar, very brilliant fella, articulate. He was writing books, working in the newspapers in America, and he is responsible for most of the important meetings that was engaging Pan-African issues, trying to bring Africa together in the diaspora and also Africa that are in Africa. He was arranging a lot of meetings in England, in Germany, in France, going all around the world, preaching the Pan-Africanism. He is believed to be the first fella to use the word Pan-Africans, because in his meetings he would write the Pan-African Conference. You must check out the most famous one is the one of 1900. That was in Britain, England, that lasted for 3 days. He wrote most famous books that speaks to the life of Africans. He wrote the book called The Souls of Black Folks. And he went on to live in Ghana for many years, where he died in 1963 in Accra, where he was staying. It's mindful to understand not only Pan-Africans will be the people who you know from Africa. There are Pan-Africans who were fighting more into the liberations of the first few countries that were liberated, countries like Ghana. They were instrumental in those liberation movements. So the other one that you need to know about is John B. Rousseau. He was born in 1799 in Jamaica. He was a very brilliant fella. He was a scholar also. He did a number of articles that managed to make waves in the black people's lives. So he was the first black man to graduate in his college in America. He is the fella that you need to read about, the third to graduate college in the whole USA, the third black person in those times, in the 1800s, early 1800s. He worked in the newspaper around New York, publishing the lives that were lived by black people, those hardships and all that. He was instrumental in most civil rights movement that were happening back then. He also moved to Liberia around 1800s, early 1800s. He moved to Liberia. He worked there as a superintendent of education because he was the most educated fella coming from America, and through that he managed to convince through his papers, publications, most black people who were enslaved, who were coming out of slavery to come back to America. That led to around 12 million Africans that came back at that time, came back from America to countries like Sierra Leone, to countries like Liberia and Ghana. He was one of the first to do that. In 1863, became the governor of Maryland in Liberia, where he worked as a governor during that time, became the first African American. I don't understand why today they refer to him as African American, but he was born in Jamaica and then went to live and study in America and come back to live in Liberia in Africa. That's where he died in 1851 in Liberia. So why do I tell you about these people? These people are very fundamental to you to understand that the fight didn't just start now in the times of Patrice Lumumba, Jomo Kenyatta, Kwame Nkrumah. The fight began early in the days for these Pan-African people with vision saw that for us as Africans, it is very important for us to unite. It will play a very pivotal role for us united than divided. These are the people who are fighting for that. So we're gonna go to number 3. The number 3 a person that you really need to study and look up and read about is Kwame Nkrumah, who was born in Ghana in 1909. You know a lot about Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah became the first black president of Ghana in 1958, and then in 1963 he was among those that formed the OAU, Organization for African Unity, that was formed in Ethiopia with Haile Selassie, Jomo Kenyatta, and others. Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown by the military and the police while he was in China for a visit. When he came back, he learned that he is no longer a president. People of Ghana have turned against him and throw him out of power, and running for his life. He went to live in Guinea, where he was living in constant fear, fearing for his life. He thought his life was not safe. So what he did, he was staying on toes, letting his cook eat his food, half of his food first, then he would take over and eat it. There were attempts on his life. He believed that the West were coming against him, trying to kill him. So in 1972, so they did assassinate him. They did get to him and kill him. So a very important figure in the Pan-African, because he was fighting for one Africa. He's got his famous quote that said, I was not born in Africa, Africa was born in me. A very special fella that you need to read about. I love him, I love his history, I read his books. You must check out his books also. If you need some books, you can talk to me. I will send you some books. You can leave your email on the comments. If you want some African books, Pan-African books, it's either you want some audio books or you want some PDF file books, I will hook you up. make sure that you subscribe. If you have not yet subscribe now. Let's get this going. We're going to number 4. So the fourth Pan-African you need to really read about is none other than Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara was born in 1949 in Burkina Faso, where he became a president. He took over the presidency, and what he did, he fought for social justice there in Burkina Faso, and through his fight, he didn't fight for too long. He was a president at the age of 33. The first thing that he did when he took power, he changed the name from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso. And then what he did, he nationalized all land and minerals, and all wealth was distributed to people. He made sure that people were doing things for themselves. He let them build schools, he let them build hospitals. He was focusing more on vaccinating people with African vaccinations. He was into people curing themselves. He was also into making sure that people are more dependent on themselves, not depending on government. He was teaching people on how to make sure that they do things on their own. So one of the things that he did, he foreseen that the globalization is taking over, the global warming is taking over. So he planted more than 10,000 trees around the capital town of Burkina Faso, and he was big on empowering women. What he did the first time he became a president, he outlawed the forced marriage, the circumcision of women, and the polygamy. He made sure that those are no longer happening. He employed most women in the position of power, and taught them not to be staying in the houses, cleaning and stuff. They must get education, equal education as the men who were getting the education. He was an advocate for human rights. He was an advocate for Pan Africanism. He was dealing with countries that were close to him, trying to make sure that they were doing things the way of trading together as Africans, rejecting all aid from the Western countries, because he believed that who feeds you will be the one that owns you. So he made sure that he doesn't accept anything from the West. He kicked out all the West, they nationalized everything, but his lifespan was too much in president. He only did so much in 4 years. At the age of 37, he was assassinated. That is believed that he was assassinated by his right-wing man who was with him when they were taking over the governance. The man that became the president by the name of W.E.B. Compaoré, who's still being investigated now, who became the president then up until 2014, that took the land back to France, dealing with France and making all the loans and stuff. And the whole analogy and the work of Thomas Sankara became a thing of a history. Is still famous among Pan-Africans like us. You need to read more about what he did. You don't need to read about him in Wikipedia. Go deep, find his books, the books that were wrote about him with facts and all that, you will understand what was happening before he got in power, what happened during the time he was in power, and what happened after the time that he was no longer in power. So yeah, I hope you're still enjoying. I hope you are learning a lot about your Pan Africanist. I hope you can be inspired to fight for one Africa, to fight for what's right, human rights that were fought by the likes of Thomas Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, John Roswam, E.W. Du Bois. So we go to the last one, last but not least, the other Pan-Africanist you need to look into and study and read about is none other than Colonel Moammar Gaddafi, born in 1942, took over from King Idris in 1969. I did the full episode on Moammar Gaddafi. Please check that out. I think it's episode 14. Take your time after this one. Check that out. I will leave the link for that episode on the description so you can read and understand and watch the whole history of Moammar Gaddafi, how he took over and did all those things for Libyan people. So what he did, he took over in 1969 from King Idris. He removed all foreign armies. I'm talking Italy and Britain. He chased them away, said no more. He nationalized all land, minerals, petroleum. They were all under the government. He took over from British Petroleum and chased them away. He gave people free houses, free education, free health, because when he took over, Libya was more like a desert. And then he built all those beautiful buildings that you can see now that were burned down by NATO in order of America and Europe. So the other thing that he did, he banned alcohol and gambling because he believed that if you have a drunk mind, there's no way that you can fight for yourself drunk. Drunk people, they don't think clearly. We needed people who were going to work with him, people who were going to think clearly and try to rebuild the Libya to what it is now. So he also fought for one Africa. He was almost killed by America in 1986 with airstrikes to his compound in order of President Reagan back then. He also made sure that Africa is uniting through one currency, borderless. When he took over as the chairperson of AU in 2009, that's where it sparked all out because the progress now was becoming real. The committees were set up, things were happening, even in West Africa. They started trading together and all these things were happening. So the plan was made for him to die, and also he did die by the hands of his people through the help of NATO. I did speak about it on his episode. You can go and check more about that. So yeah, that's all for now. I hope you're doing good in this lockdown. Man, I'm also try to make sure that you are eating all the good stuff, taking the vitamins, vitamin C, get zinc, vitamins D, get umhlonyane, get impepho, steam your body. If you got access to some gin, take a tot of gin when you're feeling the cold, and when you're feeling like your neck is making you breathe a certain way or swallow the certain way. Take a gin, steam it out of your body. We know the times of COVID-19 here in South Africa is sparking out now, which I said on the first episode that by July, August, the numbers will be unbearable. Now it's happening. You can go and check the first episode. You will see what I was talking about. It is happening now. I told you that it's not the end when the numbers were still very low here in Africa around March. I told you it's just the beginning. Things were still going to happen, and now are happening. So yeah, man, I'm good. I hope you all good. I hope you still enjoying these episodes that I am bringing you. If you are a musician, don't forget to publish your songs, your beats in Spotify, Apple Music. Make sure that you hit me up. I will hit you up with the right people to publish your music. DistroKid, get your 7% discount. The link is on the description. Also, this episode is brought to you by Ikapa Hype. Ikapa Hype on Facebook, Ikapa Hype on YouTube. Make sure you follow them. So I hope you did enjoy. Fikiria kwa undani, ndugu, asante, Tamaku. Check this video here, Moammar Gaddafi, and check this one here, Nelson Mandela.